Hello. Things have been changing. My behaviors and habits have been sliding more and more towards hiking and reading, and less, or I should say away from, playing guitar or constantly thinking about what the next YouTube video should be. And it's been pretty nice. I've just been in nature and, getting lost in books. It's a pretty enjoyable time. And I think the reason for this is because of my solitude. It's been a while, probably like a week or two, which overall, isn't that long, but I haven't had a real conversation that isn't just like pleasantries or an exchange for goods and or services, and not like a real deeper conversation with somebody that I actually know. So in this solitude, I have been thinking and considering why I'm so afraid of death. Like, it pops up in my brain and then it just scatters everything, and I'm like, shoot, that's bad. And it gives me a little anxiety when I think about it, because I'm not looking forward to my eventual death. But there's some words that I have been given that I should probably consider. That being, we're all gonna die, so you shouldn't be, you don't really have to care that much whenever, you're feeling angry, or whenever you're swept by the sense of greed. You can realize, well, getting more right now wouldn't actually change my life that much. Or also the fact that one's change in life is very arbitrary. Oftentimes, people are measured by wealth, but there are plenty of terribly sad, depraved rich people, and completely fulfilled and satisfied poor people. So that shouldn't be the delineator that you measure yourself with. Obviously. I'm sure plenty of people know this. But whenever you're looking at a fat stack of cash, it's going to change your life whether or not you take it, right? And it's going to be like a pretty drastic change either way. And that change is neither good nor evil. It simply is just another trajectory. But whenever you're considering that, you should think about not how this will change your life and the outcome, but instead, if the decision you're making is truly the one that you are authentically making, right? And you can tap into this authenticity by remembering that you're going to die, because your brain is thinking a lot about the near future or the near past, but the far out past, decades ago, are not in your brain, and the far future, decades ahead, are also not pervasive in your brain. But death is that far future, and considering that far future of I'm going to die, so I should live a life that is, there are very good ways to put this, but the words cannot come to me right now. But the way that you live your life, you could give it like a river analogy of going with the flow, I suppose, and doing things that your natural tendency is to go towards and do those things, like hiking or reading for me. Those things are like, wow, this is something that I enjoy. And it's not like I'm thinking, wow, I could really see myself doing this for the rest of my life. That's not the point of like an activity. It's more of like, it's fulfilling. You should do things that fulfill you. And the act of being in nature, I find fulfilling. But the thought of my death, I do not. And there's a lot of like, you gotta come to terms with your own mortality. And that's something everyone has to get through. But most of the time, people do not. People do not keep it in mind. People are not thinking about that all the time because it's scary. But you should be thinking about it more, because the more pressing that death is in your mind, the more that you will actually consider what you really want to do. And your mind won't be filled with trivialities anymore. You'll be more locked in on what's truly important to you. And that's what matters. And that's how you need to live your life, by what's important to you. Not by the bad conversation you had with the barista at Starbucks 5 minutes ago. You should have the, like, I love my wife and 2 kids in your mind, right? What's important to you should be what's in your mind. And thinking about death keeps the important things close to you, and improves your happiness, I guess, because whenever you're thinking about those things, you tend to feel more gratitude for those things, and boom, you're kind of like happier, yo. So that's why it's important to think about your own death, because it's an inevitability, even if you really, really hate it like I do. And maybe one day, a future version of yourself will come to terms with that. But right now, I cannot. But I still want to live my, life that I deem things important to me, and live my life based on those important things. And death is that reminder, that inevitability, right? And the death of Ivan Ilyich, something, is a reminder of what happens when you ignore it. Whenever you don't live life by what's truly important to you. So go read that book. It's really good and will open your brain, like, to a life unfulfilled. And it's a good read. Honestly, reading is really good. I've been on a reading kick. And finding books that are really, like, good is difficult. But you can use people and get their recommendations, which is huge. Anyways, my recommendation is to read The Death of Ivan Ilyich. And that will open your brain hole to how you don't want to live your life, how death is like, yeah, that's a bad thing in our stinky Westerner mindset, but if you're raised in an Eastern philosophy like Buddhism, death isn't, that bad. But we're extremely adverse to it, and it's something that's inevitable, and it's something that is terribly frightening to me. So my logical brain is thinking, well, I might as well start looking into ways to comfort myself in such a terrifying state, and that would be looking for philosophies, ideas, and, consistently thinking about death. My mind will probably eventually get used to it, and I'll start being more gracious and be filled with more gratitude and, stop obsessing over trivialities. So, that's what I'm gonna do. You can do whatever, I don't care. Anyways, toodles.